Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're enjoying what at least is a sunny day here in southeastern Wisconsin, even though my friends downstairs keep telling me that it's below zero, so it's not appropriate for walking outside. But I'm John Stellmacher, current WASBO president from Kettle Moraine. And on the call today are my fellow board members, Tim Erickson from Hudson, our president-elect, Kathy Davis, our past president from DeForest, and Brian Adesso, our treasurer from Menasha. And our other board members, Holly Burr, Chrissy Hamill, Dave Ho, Julie Kelly, Mike Coltis, Marta Kwiatkowski, am I pronouncing that right, Marta? Jeff Mahoney, Eddie Then, Sarah Vieira, and then Mike Berry, our executive director. So thank you for joining today. We certainly apologize that we can't have our business meeting as we normally do in the Empire Ballroom at the Hilton, and hope you were able to enjoy the State Education Convention virtually last week. But we wanted to have an opportunity to have our business meeting as we continue to progress through this 2021 school year. The first item of business would be our nominating committee report from our past president, Kathy Davis Phillips. Kathy, do you want to give the report on nominations?
Absolutely. And if we could go to the next slide. First, I'll introduce our candidates for president-elect. We have 3 this year. It's Phil Fry from Sun Prairie, Dave Ho from Oshkosh, and Mike Coltis from CISA 5. And next, our treasurer candidates, we have Brian Adesso from Menasha and Andy Weiland from Oregon. And for director candidates, we have Dimitri Andrews from Platteville, Joe Ledavina from La Crosse, and Joe Marquardt from New London. And that's our slate of candidates for 21-22.
Thank you, Kathy. Just wanted to add, we on the WASBO board and WASBO as an association takes a very deliberate approach to our board of directors. Annually, we look to review as the candidates are coming in through geographic balance, some gender balance, balance between big districts and small, and work assignment. And we generally try to make sure we have a board that's representative of our profession and our roughly 1,500 members. And there are years where that fluctuates a little just based on who is interested in running and who's willing to run. I know certainly this has been a challenging year from a commitments perspective for many of us. So just want to thank all of those that have come forward to run for the board this spring. And a reminder that each fall and winter, we do have a call for nominations, either from a regional, or if you yourself are interested in being nominated to run for the board. And that will be, again, publicized as we come later in the year. But certainly Kathy, in her role as past president and former past presidents, work to cultivate some great candidates. And next fall, when I'm past president, expect a call from me as we, again, try to recruit some great people to continue the leadership for this profession. Looking for an approval of the October 15, 2020 minutes, which was our fall business meeting. Actually, as I'm reading my notes, I would like to move for approval of the October 15th, 2020 minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, Jeannie, I believe we're going to have a polling motion up. If you would please submit a response.
No. A nervous minute or two here.
Can you see the polling, John?
I can see the question, but I can't see the results.
Okay. So we are, we have 54 people who have responded. I say we end the polling, and they are all yes.
Okay, so with that, it's unanimous. The motion carries. Next, we will move on to Mr. Adesso and the treasurer's report.
Thank you, John. So you were sent out 2 sheets showing the profit and loss sheet and then the balance sheets. You'll notice that these are combined balance sheets. So WASBO does have a foundation and an Inc. account. The foundation is for tax purposes. So that's where conference income goes, and then Inc. is where we pay our ongoing expenses from. We've kind of changed to the combined format, so it's much more transparent for the member, so you can actually see the total health of the organization. Otherwise, we could probably do some funny things by showing one and people not understanding how it mixes with the other one. So this makes it easier and simpler for everyone to see. The theme of everything, and hopefully it goes away here soon, is the pandemic. WASBO has submitted several budget modifications to the board, which the board did approve, because we didn't know how conferences would go. And you know, just so the membership understands, we do have a very healthy fund balance. You know, Mike and WASBO could have said, you know, we're just not going to do PD right now. We'll come back in a year, and we'd have enough to operate for the entire year with kind of bringing in minimal income. But as you may or may not know, that's not part of our mission. Our mission is to provide professional development. So we need to get out that information to the membership. Thus, they launched a virtual option, and that created some new relationships with production companies and some new investments on technology that'll hopefully be used in the future also. So kudos to Mike and the WASBO team for stepping it up on a short notice and kind of modernizing us or providing other options. So some of those areas where you'll see on the profit and loss sheet, so 5,100, so F5,100 on the left-hand side. So those are our conference incomes. You see it is down from last year. Attendance is down, although not down as much as we anticipated. There was also the Midwest Facilities Conference that was moved around. That's affecting that a little bit. A bigger concern, and I talked about it last time when I addressed you, is the scholarship income. That is down by $13,000, and that's something that's very important, I know, to the board and WASBO as an organization, because we are really one of the few organizations that actually provide scholarships to students in the state. So we hold that near and dear to our heart. Our expenses side, F6,100 conference expenses, you also see that's way down because virtually you don't have to feed people. So, although that would have been a nice carrot to get people to join, but you know, you're not paying for the venue and food and all that. There's the 6,200 strategic planning. So this was the thing that the board kind of said, we need to start to invest in this. We have this fund balance. Let's start to invest in strategic planning. So that's a 28,000. A lot of that is tech and other investments that are laying the foundation for that. On the income side, I'm not going to go through each one of these. On the income side, N5,200. So you'll see $133,000 there. So that was for the federal government PPP loan that WASBO was eligible for, and they did apply for. And that was to maintain their staffing, to not lay off staff. The good and the bad news about the PPP is that WASBO is not eligible for round 2. So that's kind of the bad part. But the good part is that they're not eligible because they didn't lose 25% of their revenue, which means they remained a healthy organization and did what they were supposed to do. Overall, the net income year over year is down $38,000, and I'd say that's a huge win. It's a testament to WASBO reinventing itself overnight, and how hard Mike and the staff worked really did keep WASBO going. Because in a pandemic, 38,000 is really not that much. Any of us can look at our food service Fund 50. The treasurer's report was sent out to everyone, correct, Jeannie?
Correct.
So as I was saying, the $38,000 loss, I mean, if anyone else look at our Fund 50 balance sheet, we'd probably be happy with a $38,000 loss. So WASBO fared better than some of us did on our, compared to our Fund 50. And then on the balance sheet, I just want to point to one number in the bottom right-hand corner, and that's really the equity number. That's really showing the true health of the organization. And we're still sitting at just under $3 million, or a $33,000 drop from last year, which is very, very healthy. And it really shows that WASBO can weather the storm per se.
Hey, thanks, Brian. I just want to add that, you know, the current WASBO staff was fortunate to inherit a really solid balance sheet from our predecessors. And most of that comes from professional development. So to everybody who's ever presented or spoken or attended a WASBO event, you know, those activities are what helped put the organization on solid financial footing. And really appreciate that. It certainly helps us sleep at night.
And obviously it's like members like all of you too. I mean, if you guys aren't coming to the PD or renewing your memberships, WASBO would have a much harder time operating.
Right.
So we appreciate your support. So with that, I move for approval of the Treasury report as presented.
I would like to second that.
Okay, and then with that, there should be a polling motion up on the screen that says I support the motion approving the January 28th, 2021 Treasury report.
Okay, and the motion carries 59-0. Love when we have unanimous consent. Thank you, Brian, for your report.
Very convincing presentation, Brian.
And I believe next we have the president's report. Just a couple things I want to discuss this afternoon. First, this meeting is traditionally during the State Education Convention, and at our WASBO lunch, we typically honor our School Business Manager of the Year and our George Gray New School Business Official of the Year. So just want to give a shout out to Lynn Knight, who was honored last week, our Business Manager of the Year, and Leah Hauser, who was our George Gray New Business Manager of the Year. Both certainly very proud of our colleagues and how well they represent the best of WASBO in our profession. We've made it now. I know my daughter was excited that we were closing in on the 100th day of school. And again, just wanted to reflect in this challenging year for all of us that looks much different. I know last summer it was challenging to imagine what the school year was going to look like and how we could operate safely and in a way that would allow nearly 1 million children within Wisconsin to continue receiving a great education. And certainly there's been bumps and challenges along the way, but I feel blessed to be a part of this organization and the leadership team in that I personally feel like we're doing a better job than ever supporting each other, sharing what works and how we're getting beyond certain obstacles. And I'm optimistic about the future with the COVID vaccine being now delivered across the state, that next year we'll be able to attain some measure of normalcy as we transition to post-pandemic, but that we can continue to leverage the great things that have come out of this era. I know my region, in the Southeast region, we've significantly increased our engagement and participation in regional meetings now that we're able to do some things virtually. And next year, I'm hoping to have some face-to-face meetings, but also preserving those virtual meetings as well, where we can engage folks, in particular from some of our smaller or more remote districts where travel time can become an obstacle to participation. So thank you to all the members for all of your contributions to our conferences and to supporting your colleagues around you. And thanks, Ryan, for that note on Lynn and Leah's recognition. I believe there were some videos attached to that as well. Second thing I wanted to cover, there's going to be some information released next week coming to you, as well as I believe we're looking to provide a webinar next Friday at 11 o'clock. And the purpose of the effort is to look at the COVID-19 financial impact and equipping all of our districts to be able to tell each of our unique stories about how we've, as a leadership team, as a community, as a school district, navigated COVID. As you all know, the state budget process is just about to get started, and the state of Wisconsin legislature and the governor will need to come to an agreement on the next 6 to 12 months over what the budget for the next 2 years. And there's a lot of, especially in the era of social media, a lot of information that isn't always entirely accurate. And we're looking to create have created rather, a template that we'd like to share with the membership, and to put out a couple of requests to help make sure that our legislators and members of the community and of the media have reporting or a view that accurately reflects the work being done in schools and also the financial implications of that. A couple facets of that will include talking through the process you've used to make decisions in your district, what you're currently doing as far as an instructional delivery method, and then looking at some of the financial impacts. Every district is a little bit different based on your local conditions on the ground, but the federal dollars that we've previously received and will be receiving now as part of ESSER 2 have been to help with the additional cost for this year. And we want to make sure that districts are able to accurately articulate what they've had to spend in terms of additional expenses and how those federal funds have been utilized. And then also to look at our future, where our needs lie. You know, each of us probably do a cost to continue and some budget preparation work. And this year's no different, whether it be bus fuel or utilities, benefit costs, maybe a CPI increase. The costs associated with providing a quality of education don't stay flat during a pandemic, and we want to make sure everyone's positioned to be able to tell that story. So please do watch the SAA blog next week for some examples and additional information. And I believe you'll get a communication from WASBO talking about right now our tentative plan for a webinar, 11 o'clock next Friday on February 5th. And with that, I will turn the floor over to Executive Director Mike Berry for his Executive Director's report.
Well, thanks, John. I appreciate it. This is probably not the right venue for an extended, series of comments. So I'll be brief. Just want to say thank you for joining us on this call today and helping us do the association's business. Miss seeing all of you in person. Have been missing that for a while. Yeah, make a note if you would about the webinar a week from tomorrow regarding advocacy. There was a story in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel just the other day following up on the governor's State of the Union address, or State of the State, I guess I should say, from a couple weeks ago, where among the accomplishments that the governor called out during his first term was that that he had in his budget put $330 million more into general school aids. And this is the largest boost in school funding in more than a decade. And while that's technically true, and I'm not here to pick on the governor's efforts, I think you all know that an increase in general school aids doesn't create even a single penny more of spendable resources at the school district level, right? I mentioned this just to illustrate how difficult it is to advocate around K-12 financing, K-12 funding, because of the complexity of it, right? So hopefully the webinar beginning next week, Friday, will at least be a first step in trying to simplify and gain some consistency in how we talk about what's really happening in the school districts this year. So join us for that if you can. And I also like to mention that every one of those little 1-hour free webinars that we've done this year have come to us as proposals or ideas from the membership. So if you have an idea or a topic that you think is worthy of calling it to the attention of the membership, we'd be happy to entertain it. I want to thank all those who've brought forward the COVID-19, the 1099, the W-2s, the Act 185s, work that we've done already this year. And then lastly, just want to end this on a note of thanks. I particularly want to follow up on John's point about the regionals this year and the regional chairpersons who obviously had to go above and beyond to reconfigure the regionals to go virtual. And I think it's been really successful. No one ever thanks the regional chairs. Yeah. So let me do that. Thank you, regional chairs. And while I'm doing that, let me also thank the board for their support during the past several months, as well as all the folks who've helped us with planning the conventions and conferences, virtual though they are. We've had planning teams for all those, and we couldn't do it without you. And then lastly, the amazing WASBO staff who help us get all this done, and the WASBO board. So, one way or another, just like you are, sort of muddling through in your districts this year. Every week is a new improvisation. We're sort of following the same path at WASBO, but we're confident that we're going to come through the year in a good position, and we are incredibly excited about breaking out of this for next year and doing some in-person work. So it's great to see everybody, and appreciate you being on this call. So Jeannie, that kind of wraps up the executive director comments.
Do we have any old business to attend to at today's meeting? Or any new business? I believe when I was talking to Mike and the leadership team, we typically at the business meeting in January give a shout out to anyone that is planning to retire at the end of this school year. So via the chat feature, I don't know if anyone has made that decision and would like to be recognized. Certainly would want to provide that opportunity for, again, our outstanding colleagues who have given a number of years, or in some cases their full career to this profession.
You can only put your own name in there. You can't put somebody else in there for retirement. It's not fair. We don't allow that.
Wendy Brockert at Lake Mills. Congratulations, Wendy.
That's great. At the state ed convention, they were giving extra points to people who visited the virtual vendor floor. I spent some time doing that and accrued about 120 points. And then I looked at the leaderboard and saw that Wendy Brockert had 385,000 plus points. I don't know, Wendy, I don't know how she did that, but she was far and away the champion for the state ed convention. So congratulations, Wendy.
Jim Fremming from Port Washington, Saukville, who actually retired, I believe, as of the first of the year.
That sounds right, yeah.
Congratulations to Wendy and Jim, and for those that may be still considering that decision, I hope we have an opportunity this spring to recognize the significant contributions that Wendy, Jim, and others have made to the profession during their WASBO membership and their service for young people in Wisconsin. Oh, thanks, Lynn. And Dan Wygant from Wisconsin Rapids, also retiring on June 30th this year.
Oh, that's right. Congratulations, Dan, if you're on the call.
Oh, February 1st. Oh, spoke too soon. Thank you. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn today's business office meeting or business meeting.
John, I'll move for adjournment.
Thank you,
I'd
Tim.
like to second that.
Thank you, Kathy. And our final polling motion.
Are we polling on that? There it is. Okay.
There we
We have to vote on this, don't we? Yes, we do. I hope everybody votes to adjourn because we really don't have any more material. We're going to have to start telling stories if we don't adjourn.
57 votes for yes and none for no. So
That
thank
means-
you.
That means everyone's tired of us already. All
Yeah.
right.
I'll just add it, Mike, as a humorous note. Those of you that know, well, most people in the profession know me as Stelly. A handful of great people know me as Squirrel because of my ability to take a 5-minute meeting into 30 minutes. So let the record officially show that the business office meeting today was completed in 26 minutes. I appreciate your time and for attending, and we look forward to connecting with you. Federal funds in February, at the accounting conference in March, at the spring conference in May, or any of the other great opportunities in between. Thank you for all you continue to do on behalf of your communities and, again, the kids that we ultimately serve.